players introducing themselves to the K-State fans.
And now a little too aggressive, going for a third consecutive steal. He is called for the foul, but some energy off the bench from Marquise Noel. This is Big 12 Now on ESPN+. And welcome back to Bramlage Coliseum. K-State on a 7-0 run to lead it here 10-5. And welcome courtside, Ben Boyle, Stan Weber with you. And we talked about the optimism Bruce Weber brings into the season, and a lot of it's because of these three transfers who've come in. We've seen good play from all of them so far.
Yeah, one of the things they have to buy into is, will they play defense the K-State way? And so far we've seen a lot of that, but what we knew that they would bring is a spark on the offensive end. And we've seen that already with some outside shooting. Mark Smith making one, Ish Massoud making one, and then Marquise Noel with great passing, good defense. And so far those three guys have got off to a very good start. Welcome to K-State. Student body wondering who these guys are.
Bruce Weber's talked about the chemistry too of this team and how all these new guys have fit in, because that's really the big unknown with all these teams in the transfer portal. Yeah, you're bringing in talented players, but how do they mix in with the guys that have been here? And a lot of that still remains to be determined, and this is just the first 5 minutes of the first exhibition game.
That's why I love sports, because you brought up such a great point. So far it's been great. I mean, everyone's bought in. They're having a good time. Everyone's speaking up, smiles on their faces, acting like they've been here forever if you're new, and Mike McGurl, who's been here forever, acting like he's just one of the guys. But when you get put underneath the pressure of game situations, losing a couple of games, how do you respond then? That'll be the real question. And that's what separates teams. That's what makes sports so great. Because, you know, spring training in baseball used to be that way. Everybody thought they were going to have a great year.
Good defensive pressure again from Noel, forces another turnover. Antonio Givens, number 15, checks in for Pitt State, a 6'9" grad student out of Columbus, Ohio. In fact, Tim Anderson has 5 grad students on this team.
Yeah, and they're doing very well in the classroom. These guys are working on their graduate degrees, and the overall team grade point average at Pitt State, 3.48, something that the head coach, Kim Anderson, is very proud of. He likes his team. He hoped to make this season better than the last. A lot of returning guys, some new, but 10 guys that can play.
Strong take from Selton Miguel.
under control. Remember last year, he always worked from the right side of the court. Here you see him work on the left. That's very important.
Pull-up jumper drops for Isaiah James, another grad student out of Virginia Beach, Virginia.
A very nice move.
Noel tripped up there and loses the handle.
Looks like he was trying to match the move at the other end. And got himself in a little bit of trouble.
Always a concern for coaches all season long, but especially early on, is the turnovers. Shot clock into single digits. They dump it inside to Givens. Backs in on Landers and gets the left-handed finish.
Well, you can see where Pitt State is going to be good this year because they've attacked the K-State big guys with back-to-the-basket basketball, and Antonio Givens gives you that. 260 pounds. He's not going to get pushed around.
Kasupke called for the charge.
K-State wants to attack the basket more. And there's a situation where everybody's working on their game and trying to get used to full speed action. Officials.
Chance Moore and Terry Oglesby have talked it over, and they're going to change the call here. They're going to say the defender had a foot in the circle.
Can't have your foot on that white line. There'll be a foul on the defense. And plus, he wasn't set either. K-State subbed in Mike McGurl, and if there's they have to wait a second because there should be some free throws right now, so it's just administrative now. Mike McGurl will be allowed to come into the game before action starts.
Luke Kasupke will shoot 66% free throw shooter a year ago. Bruce Weber has talked about how well Kasupke's played in the preseason, knocking down a lot of shots, which was what they were hoping for last year, but he had that injury to start the year and really kind of got thrown into the fire there.
Yeah, he had foot surgery in August of 2020, and he didn't play his first game until January 16th against Texas, and a tough way to start. Everyone said how great a shooter he was, and he struggled last year, but everyone says he still is one of the best shooters on the team. He just needs to take it to the game floor.
Let's check in with our sideline reporter, Catherine Benhart, on Luke Kasupke.
Yeah, thank you so much. So earlier this week when Luke Kasupke was asked, how do you feel with Coach Weber saying he's the most improved player on the team? He says it feels good. He's been putting in a lot of hard work in the offseason, and, saying that he's the most improved just shows that his grind is paying off and things are starting to come together.
Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, Luke really struggled last year through that freshman season. Shot just 18% from three-point range, but playing very well in practices. We'll see if it translates to game action for him there early on in his sophomore season.
What's important to point out when you talk about Luke wearing number 22 is that he didn't play offense as good as advertised, but his defense was better. He really turned into a guy who was very competent on the defensive side.
Good save, Stan. Stan just saved Kim Anderson from flopping over the scorer's table here as his own player ran him over.
I think he was going to go. I'm seriously, he was going to keep going and right over the top. We can joke about it, but with the pressure I used, it made a difference for him to stay up. And he can't go down and elbow someone at the other end like he used to when he played in 77.
No, yeah, he had some sharp elbows, didn't he? Hopefully you didn't catch one of them there.
No, not at all. I just got straight back. He's like taking a charge, just square as can be.
Well, it's fun to be back courtside. We didn't count on getting into the action so early then.
Yeah, once in a while the basketball will come the way, but this is the first time a coach has come into the action. And now the coaches can come so close to half court, starting a few seasons ago, that he actually can be up near where we're broadcasting.
McGurl leaves it short. Landers with the stick back. K-State at 50% from the floor after the stick back from Landers. Pitt State so far just 4 of 13.
They've had a couple of spectacular offensive scoring plays, but otherwise K-State's played good defense.
Isaiah James with the runner. Landers with another rebound. McGurl on the pitch out to a corner three from Luke Pasuki that won't fall. Forney to the other end, and it's 15-11 with just over 11 to play.
Good hustle getting to the ball. R.J. Forney able to slice through the Wildcats, get the loose ball, and go down and get a Pitt State layup.
K-State doing a lot of attacking the paint on the offensive end so far. They've attempted just 2 3-pointers. Now Pack will try one. Back rim, Miguel. The rebound and the score. 4 for Selton Miguel.
Well, that's where he's so comfortable. I mean, you give him an opening on the right side, and he can maneuver, fly through the air, and get the ball up and off the backboard for a score. Good job getting to the loose ball on the offensive rebound and then taking it to the rim.
Miguel was actually 3rd on the team last year in minutes played, 27 a game. He really played all 4 different spots. Selton Miguel has it blocked, but a foul. And we will step aside first, halfway through the first half, and the Cats lead it by 6.
Hey, what's with the to-go cup?
Sorry, I have to run because my heating and cooling system is out. Again.
You should call Kate's. They're offering over $2 grand in rebates right now.
Over $2 grand? I could work with that. See you at Spin tomorrow?
Yes, ma'am. Only Kate's offers over $2 grand in rebates on qualifying Carrier systems. Carrier, turn to the experts and get a free estimate from katesheatingandcooling.com today.
We're all taught to share, but giving someone your pain medication isn't generous. It's reckless. Yet 1 in 5 people prescribed an opioid admit to sharing it with others. These drugs can be dangerous, even deadly. Support the people you love. Store your medication securely and dispose of unused medication. If you're asked to share, say no. Help prevent opioid abuse among your friends and family before it starts. Talk. It truly matters.
You can do your part to win the dang day by making small daily improvements such as eating more fruits and vegetables, living tobacco-free, and taking a short walk. All these things can all make a great impact on your overall wellness. Join me, Chris Kleiman, head football coach of your K-State Wildcats, along with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas and Stormont Vale Health in our PowerCat Health Partnership, encouraging all Kansas to live a healthier lifestyle.
Learn more about the PowerCat Health Partnership by visiting kstatesports.com/PowerCat Health.
Who wrote the book of love?
This is the story of Mega Millions. Mega Millions is big and bold. It is sometimes confused with its cousin Powerball, but Mega Millions has the magical ability called Megaplier, which could help you win millions even without hitting the jackpot. This makes people mega happy. Mega Millions drawings are held every Tuesday and Friday at 10 p.m. Play starts at $2.
We wrote the book of love.
Balanced effort so far from K-State, and they lead it here by 6 midway through the first half. And let's check in again with Catherine Benhart.
Thank you. Yeah, earlier this week, K-State head coach Bruce Weber says the focus needs to be on focusing on those turnovers, taking care of the ball, and really shutting people out. He says we're a team that's capable of that, and making sure that whenever we have the ball, we're not making big plays all the time, but taking care of it, and also making sure each player has a specific role, and they're feeling good about the plays they're making.
So Stan, we've talked about the optimism from Bruce Weber to begin this season, and part of that comes from their secret scrimmage against number 13 Oregon. Very successful for the Wildcats when they went to play Dana Altman's club out there in Denver.
Yeah, K-State sometimes has 2 exhibition games, but this year they chose to have 1, and they replaced that with that opportunity to go to a neutral site. The coaches control the activity. They can do whatever drills they want, but as much as possible, with officials on the floor, they want to run up and down the court and play ball. And K-State did a very nice job. The defense with these new guys was actually better than they would have ever expected in a first game situation. So matching up very well, or maybe even slightly better than Oregon in that situation, was a great surprise.
Yeah, read between the lines there. We can't give you an official score, but it was a successful trip for the Wildcats. Bruce Weber said they shot it really well from 3 and from the free throw line in that game.
We will give you the official score tonight.
Pack with some good defense. Smith saves it in. And here come the Cats up by 7.
Well, something I see right away for the Wildcats is on the defensive end when a shot goes up, they need to be better at getting rebound position. They've used their height some to tap the ball. Maybe one person is there to secure the basketball as Kasupki travels, drags his pivot foot. But they haven't been getting into rebounding position and just clearing the boards. And in fact, a couple of times you've seen some tap-aways and retaining of the basketball by Pitt State. It's a nice tradition to see KU and K-State to play MIAA teams from in the state in these exhibition games.
Foul on Eziegu. This is the 6th meeting all time between the two, all in exhibition action. Played 3 years ago here in Bramlage. A 40-point win for K-State over the Gorillas that year.
I'm impressed so far with Antonio Givens and Zach Birch's ability to work inside. K-State's not bringing a double team, obviously. Need to work on man-to-man, one-on-one defense down low, but Antonio Givens, for the 2nd time tonight, is able to make a nice move to create a foul or get a score. And he likes to score. I mean, he scored 7 points in only 12 minutes in that game against Avila. Pitt State played a game already, an exhibition at home. This is their 2nd one, and they actually have a scrimmage on Sunday, so it's a while before they start their season, but they're going to get 3 opportunities to work against others.
Illegal screen called here on Luke Kasupki. He'll head to the bench, and Marquise Noel will return.
And now we see for the first time Marquise Noel and Nigel Pack in the game at the same time.
Mark Smith at the 3s, but there is potential to have those 2 point guards on the floor, as well as Mike McGurl. We've seen some of that in some of the scrimmages so far for Bruce Weber.
Well, we saw last year at the end of the season when K-State started playing better basketball. And there's one of those offensive rebounds by Pitt State where K-State did not block them out. But K-State played a little more small ball. You really haven't seen that with Bruce Weber. It's something that's been a trend over the last few years, but not something that K-State had the opportunity to play with. But they started doing that at the end of the last season, and it turned into a better version of the Wildcats.
Quick hands forces the turnover on Noel. Jumper is good. That's a deuce from Dijon Waters.
What a beautiful shot by Dijon Waters.
Pitt State on a mini run here to draw within 2.
Some sloppy basketball for the Wildcats, some turnovers. And then good shooting by Pitt State. And like I said a little bit earlier, you got to be able to clear the boards more cleanly. You need everybody in rebounding position in case he has not had that yet tonight.
They're going back to Givens against Logan Landers. After the block, he regathers and scores again.
That's a senior battling against a freshman. Some strength from Antonio Givens. And also good job of sticking with it on that offensive rebound.
Masood with the turnaround. Pretty touch there from Ish Masood.
8 starts last year for Wake Forest.
He had 17 in a game at Cameron Indoor against Duke. And 8 rebounds in that game.
He's shown some flashes, but the consistency is what he's going to have to show here for the Wildcats, especially if he continues to be a starter.
Pitt State going right back inside to Gibbons. And he picks up a foul on Ish Massoud. 2018, you're watching Big 12 Now on ESPN+. And welcome back to Bramlage. Well, last year a forgettable one, easy for me to say, for the Wildcats. Kind of a Murphy's Law kind of year with a young team and COVID and injuries and just a 9-win season.
Yeah, and Bramlage Coliseum has it really hurt K-State. You think about at home, they were 6-12. That's just unheard of for K-State to not have a winning record at home. And you had a young crew, you didn't have the crowd advantage, and they got shocked in the very first game against Drake and actually started the season 0-2. And it took a while to recover. They did a pretty good job down the stretch of being better. And in fact, maybe their best game was in the Big 12 tournament. After winning in the first game, they got a chance to play Baylor, and they fought Baylor right to the last few minutes of the game to make you wonder, is Baylor really going to be national championship level? And they answered that question after a few weeks.
Yeah,
what an impressive performance, a Big 12 champion. It ends up an NCAA tournament champion.
Well, there was definitely a difference between the start of the season for K-State and the finish. I mean, they started 1-4, including a loss to Fort Hays State. But they finished the year 4-2, including a win over number 7 Oklahoma, as Marquise Noel drills an NBA three. And as you said, taking Baylor, the national champs, all the way to the wire in the Big 12 tournament. Big reason why is they got better on defense.
Yeah, they look like a Bruce Weber team on defense at the end of the year, and Celton Miguel is a big reason for that. And we talked about Luke Pasupke bought in, learned how to play good defense as well, and then you can count on Mike McGurl.
Corner three, unable to answer, is Ryan Pippins, who played with Marquise Noel at Arkansas Little Rock for a couple of years.
Who would have thought their paths would cross in Manhattan, Kansas, early November 2021. How about Noel's range on that three-point shot?
I'm not sure I saw him miss in warmups, and they were all from about 27 feet. Tipped in by Mark Smith with the left hand.
Just the strength to fly through and bounce off others and get his hand up there to tip the ball in. K-State showing a little full court press.
And a timeout called by Kim Anderson as we look at Mark Smith, the transfer from Mizzou, going to the offensive glass.
Here he comes in and just has the strength to power through Antonio Gibbons, and we've seen how strong he is. Good job by Mark Smith.
Well, we talked a little bit about the defense and how much better it got last year, but the offense really struggled last year. This team finished last in the Big 12 in virtually every offensive category. Field goal shooting under 30% from three-point range. But Bruce Weber has seen in practice that this is a team that can shoot the basketball, mainly because they lost some guys who weren't very good outside shooters, and everyone they've brought in can shoot the basketball.
Yeah, and that makes a big difference. College basketball, and we've seen it with the NBA, how Golden State relied on great three-point shooting. And, you know, analytics are a big part of all sports. Football, with 11 guys out on the field, are still using analytics. Baseball's totally bought in because it's a numbers game, but basketball's that way as well. And all the analytics say you got to shoot three-pointers because you get 3 points when you make it versus when you're inside and you get 2. Now, coaches like Kim Anderson and Bruce Weber, they're not going to want every shot to be a three-pointer, but you've got to be effective out there. And the Wildcats shooting that poor percentage, 29.6%, was the worst since the 96-97 team shot 28.8. So K-State's going to be much better shooting the three ball and in many areas on the offense, mainly because you think about Nigel Pack and Davion Bradford, who were freshmen last year, key guys, are back in their sophomore year.
Selton McGill with a nice runner as he gets downhill, and K-State has an 8-point lead. The Cats 11 of 21. Their biggest issue in this first half at the offensive end has been 9 turnovers.
And they came in a bunch.
Noel airs it out there and a little too much.
Don't take the home run play. Bruce Weber is not saying that to him right now, but he will when they go back and talk about it, because that's something that K-State's basketball team needed to be better at last year. Make the next pass, the easy pass. We've seen some of that today, but there's your 10th turnover here in the first half with still over 5 minutes left to play.
James, tough shot. Smith there with the rebound. McGurl lines up a three, and he hits. First bucket of the night for the super senior.
10 straight points by the Wildcats after that three-pointer.
Well, they quit turning it over.
It's not how you draw it up. He stood there and looked for a while, but then he had perfect rotation on that basketball.
Zach Birch gets another bucket inside.
That's a good sign for the Gorillas. It's where they would love to attack some teams this year. Down low. K-State's kind of standing right now. Ball's not moving well.
Noel beats his man to the hoop, scored and a foul.
Again, along the baseline, there's not help defense by Pitt State. K-State's got everybody moved up to the free throw line so that when Noel is able to attack around the corner with speed, he's able to get all the way to the rim, and all that can happen is a flyby and a foul. Isaiah James, nothing he could do, and then accidentally fouled the Wildcats.
A lot of flair in this young man's game, and we've seen it on display here in the first half in his first game in a K-State uniform. 7 points for Noel.
What I don't think you're going to see a lot of is missed free throws by Marquise Noel, and he missed that one.
Yeah, 86% career free throw shooter. Cats have stretched it out to 11. Marquise Noel has 7. You're watching Big 12 now on ESPN+. K-State on a 12-2 surge. They've hit 5 of their last 7 shots from the floor and stopped turning the basketball over. They had 9 turnovers at about the 8-minute mark, but taking better care of it now, and they've pushed it up to an 11-point lead.
And add a little bit of outside shooting, and the scoreboard lights up. K-State hit 50% so far from beyond the arc.
Waters had it taken away. Miguel to Smith. Smith for 3. A little strong. Smith led the SEC his sophomore year from three-point range, 45%. He comes to K-State with 158 career triples. Good defense here by K-State. Shot clock a factor. As Magic Relaford trying to create something. We'll give it back to K-State. For Pitt State, they turn it over for the 11th time.
Ben, you talk about playing some small ball as Kim Anderson, coach of Pitt State, looks on. K-State not only has 4 guards in the ball game, but their big guy is Ish, who's usually your stretch 4, who's playing the center position now. That means you got some pretty good outside shooting available.
McGurl, another 3 on the feed from Nigel Pack.
You can and spread the offense, because it's really not 4 out, 1 in when you got this lineup out there for K-State on the offensive end.
K-State now 4 of 7 from beyond the arc. Good defense again. And a tough shot from Hardrick won't fall. Here's Smith, surveys for K-State at the top of the offense. Biggest lead of the night for the Cats.
Good communication by K-State on offense. They're not smooth right now, but they're trying to talk to each other like, I got you right here, cut here.
Deep three from Smith. Pack trying to run it down, and Waters saves it off a Pack. It'll be Pitt State basketball.
Good recognition by Dijon Waters that he might end up out of bounds, so he threw the ball off the back of the Wildcats. Keep the ball for the Gorillas. K-State showing some pressure in the backcourt. And it may not be called by Bruce Weber. I think it's just his guys just energized and saying, let's pick up a little bit further up court. Kind of a veteran play.
Hardrick, nice move to the left hand.
He's come up injured, unfortunately, but boy, switching the ball to his left hand at the last second really was helpful.
Hopefully he's okay. Returning starter at point guard. He had 27 in a game last year against Northwest Missouri, the national champs in Division II.
MIAA high-level basketball, with Northwest Missouri State having multiple national championships in the last 5 years. In basketball, you might think I'm getting ready to talk about football because they've done it so well there, but in basketball as well. And you're right, injuries already a part of the early season. Their best player, Bobby Arthur Williams, unavailable tonight. He was third team all MIAA, and getting up slowly here, Quentin Hardrick. He hung in the air, switched the ball to his left hand. I don't think he was worried about where he's going to come down with his lower body.
His bucket stops a 15-2 run for K-State.
These are the kind of things that coaches are going to work on. The little things that may not even show up when we're thinking about the game we're watching. Like, how do you finish the half? How do you play that last minute and 38 seconds? You might say, oh, it's just another minute and 38. But K-State struggled at this point in games last year, where they might be within 3 and all of a sudden they're down by 9. And you go, that should not have happened. Now we have to fight uphill in the conference game.
Ish Masood is called for the charge. Interesting for K-State that Nigel Pack has not scored. The leading returning scorer for K-State. Of course, he's been slowed by a hip injury, and Bruce Weber's watching his minutes a little bit tonight.
And that'll be a question for the Wildcats, is how will that hip feel? Maybe day to day. Some days you feel good, some days you don't.
James hanging in the air, throws it away. Pack from 16, yes.
He must have heard you. I'm going to finish my last minute and a half off strong. But when he squares up, you don't you think he's going to make it every time?
Yeah.
If he's open and gets squared up, everything from how he gets into athletic position, goes up on the jump, release, rotation on the ball, it is just beautiful.
Had that huge Big 12 tournament last year. 23 in the opening round win over TCU, and then 18 against Baylor. And one of 3 true freshmen in K-State history to lead the team in scoring. The others, Michael Beasley and Marcus Foster. But the last guy to score tonight, because all 9 guys who've played have scored, but he was the last one to get it done.
And he had some big shooting days. 5 of 6 from behind the arc against TCU. 8 of 14 against Texas A&M. So he hit some high-level, high-percentage shot, making from three-point range.
About a 3-second difference between the shot and the game, and Dijon Waters puts his head down and gets to the free throw line. Speaking of hip injuries, he missed all of last year. In fact, the doctors thought his career was over. Got a chance to say hello to him before the game. Nice young man, a grad student out of Atlanta, Georgia.
And very appreciative of the opportunity to play, because like you said, they wondered if he's going to make it back from that hip injury after starting 2 seasons ago and averaging 8.9. So very appreciative of the opportunity to get out here and play.
McGurl the rebound, and K-State can hold for the final shot.
But see, we're talking about some situational things. You said the shot clock and the game clock were very close together. Probably Kim Anderson would wanted the basketball team to settle and get the last shot from a Pitt State perspective. And we talked about this last minute and a half, how K-State played, and it's not been great.
Ish Masood has it rattle out. Smith was there momentarily, but knocked away. And K-State with a 37-26 lead here at the half. A lot of turnovers for both teams. K-State getting a 15-2 run though. And let's go courtside to Catherine Benhart.
Coach, how do you feel about your team's performance and energy tonight?
I thought we had good energy from the start. Too many turnovers. It was the thing we were worried about. I think it was 9 at the last 4. I don't know what we ended up with. And then the worst thing happened. We got our big guys are hurt and sick, and now you get foul trouble, so now you're playing a different lineup. But it's good for us. We got to learn to survive. Great conditioning. They're playing hard.
And what's one thing you want to focus on going into the second half?
Moving the basketball, getting it side to side, take advantage of them, and we got to do it without fouling. It's something we talked about in our scrimmage.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, Bruce Weber heads to the locker room, up by 11. Very balanced first half for K-State. 3 different players with 7 in the ball game. And the newcomers all playing well here in Bramlage. And welcome back to Bramlage Coliseum. Halftime here in exhibition action. K-State leading Pitt State 37-26 thanks to a 15-2 run there late in the second half or first half to give K-State some separation.
Yeah, and when K-State quit turning over the basketball during that stretch, they were able to start scoring some points. But 12 turnovers for K-State, too much. But they're able to play well enough on the defensive end to slow down Pitt State and have a lead.
For Pitt State, they're trying to pound it inside without Davian Bradford and having some success as we look at the first half numbers.
Yeah, they got K-State into a little bit of foul trouble, but there's been no action from behind the arc for Pitt State, and that's one of the reasons why they've fallen behind. K-State shot 54% in the first half, or 4 of 9 from behind the arc. Not good from the free throw line, 3 of 7, and you see the turnovers numbers will be a focus for both teams. 11 for Pitt State, 12 for K-State. That's something they don't want to have. This is the last exhibition game for these two teams, so you cannot carry that over into regular season. You need to clean that up right now.
Yeah, both teams playing hard on the defensive end and creating turnovers. K-State, though, shooting the basketball very well at 54%, and balanced scoring for the Wildcats. All 9 players who saw action for Bruce Weber in that first half scoring, led by Ish Massoud, Marquise Noel, 2 of the transfers, along with returning sophomore Selton Miguel, all with 7 points in the first half for K-State. When we come back here on the halftime show, we'll take a look at the Big 12 Conference preseason poll and talk about the teams in the league.
Do you hear that? It's the sound of the world waiting, listening for the next great story. It's the story of individuals becoming more, the chorus of the next generation. There's a world out there waiting to see what you make it.
Back in Manhattan, Kansas State on top in exhibition play tonight over Pitt State, 37-26, as teams from around the Big 12 starting play this week, and we'll do it for real next week. But let's take a closer look in depth here, Stan, at the Big 12 preseason poll and get your thoughts on some of these teams. You know it's a tough league when the defending national champs aren't the preseason favorite. Of course, Kansas, the perennial preseason favorite in the Big 12. But your thoughts on some of those teams there at the top? I think three really good teams, potential top 10 teams there.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Kansas returns everybody from last year and has Remy Martin coming in as a transfer, a star player from Arizona State. So you can see why they start at the top in the preseason poll. Why wouldn't they every year? It is kind of wild that Baylor, who was 7-0 against top 10 teams last year, lost only 2 times all year. I know they got some turnover, but they know how to win, picked third. Now, the big story of the Big 12 to me is not just the Texas Longhorns being second there, but Chris Beard is their coach. He graduated from the University of Texas. He did great things at Texas Tech. Look, they're picked 4th right now with what they have, an assistant taking over his job, and the guy who really built the defense, the defensive coordinator in basketball for Chris Beard, stays on as the head coach, but now he moves to the Longhorns. What will the reaction be? Will they live up to the hype? And then Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Oklahoma, really tied in there, wondering how those teams are going to play out. And then TCU, K-State, and Iowa State. Iowa State struggled last year in winning no conference games. It just does not seem like that could ever happen at Iowa State, but it did. So we'll see how they bounce back. K-State, TCU thinks that they should be in the middle of the pack and shake things up as the season unfolds.
Well, going back to Texas, so Chris Beard, most people around the country feel like Texas did the most in the transfer portal. I think they have 6 transfers, high-level transfers. It's going to be interesting to see how he mixes all those guys together and see if they can challenge Kansas in the Big 12.
Yes, it really helps that Baylor has the confidence that they can play. So I think they're a little more dangerous than even where they are thought of. When you get over the hump and you realize that you can compete against anybody, anywhere, that just adds juice to the whole program. And Scott Drew, along with Bill Self, have been here for like 75 years. Yeah. Maybe it's only 18. But, those 2 guys have been around the conference for a long, long time, and both of those teams are expected to be great again this year.
4 new coaches in the league this year. We'll have more after this. Cats by 11 as we get set to start the second half. First, let's look at some first half highlights. And for K-State, Stan, a blend of new and old.
Yeah, first of all, some new. Mark Smith getting into Ish Masood, and he is able to make a three-pointer. He is one of the leading scorers for K-State in the first half with 7. How about the defense of Marquise Noel from Harlem, New York, getting a steal like he's on the playground. And then how about the Wildcats' new freshman, Logan Landers, keep the ball alive and able to get a score. And then can he bomb from the outside? Look at Marquise Noel, 4-3. Mike McGurl doesn't see ball pressure, so he says, let me put a beautiful three-point shot up. That got him going. He actually made both of his three-point attempts in the first half. Here's the second one. Nice pass to the left wing, showing he can shoot from the right and left wing. And then a little speed up and under for a three-point play opportunity. Marquise Noel showing you some of the positive things that he can do, but Bruce Weber will remind him it's not only the positives, it's the negatives as well. He has 5 turnovers in the first half, and that is not going to do it. So we've seen some good things, but there's some coachable moments as well for Marquise Noel.
Overall, the Cats shoot it well, 54%, including 4 of 9 from three-point range. Stan, let's recap your introductory keys to the game and see how these clubs are doing tonight.
Well, the Gorillas, I think, have performed well. After K-State made a push, they've handled the road environment well. They have not limited the turnovers. It's been a struggle. They've had 11 turnovers in the first half. K-State, a little challenge of finding the roles, obviously just in one half, but the foul trouble got the big guys out of the rotation. Offensively, without turnovers, and K-State's had 12, they've done some nice things. They've moved the ball better than maybe you would think in the first exhibition. Showed some shooting prowess from the outside, but obviously you got to make the easy pass, not the hard one, and don't turn over the basketball.
All 9 Wildcats scored. And let's check in with Catherine, who's had a chance to talk to Kim Anderson.
Yeah, so Kim Anderson just told me that, overall he's really proud of how his guys have played so far. K-State's bigger, they're stronger, they're more physical right now, but he's proud of what they've done. Something he wants to focus on, though, is shooting a little better from the 3 and just being a little better and more effective on offense.
Pitt State was able to take advantage 3 or 4 different possessions there. They got it inside to Antonio Gibbons when Casey Eziagu went out, and Logan Landers was forced into move from the power forward, the true freshman, into the center position. And Pitt State got within 1, but the Wildcats able to make some changes defensively and answer with a 15-2 run. And as we begin the second half, the Cats are on top by 11. And a quick whistle here to reset the shot clock, not aligned with the game clock, so we'll do it again.
Shot clock started 4 seconds late. Like an echo. Officials all over it, catching that immediately. This is why games are important. Exhibitions. How do you start this second half? So important to set the tone.
McGurl fell down, leaves a wide open 3 for Hardrick, but he bricks it. Here comes Mark Smith. Count it for Mark Smith.
You've seen Mark Smith rebound the basketball well. He leads everybody in the game high 7, but then after he gets a rebound, he's kept the ball, brought it up to start K-State's offense, and not being stopped, took it all the way to the basket, scored off the backboard, and get a free throw.
Smith, one of the few players ever to play for K-State and against K-State. Wildcats played Missouri 3 years ago in the championship game of the Paradise Jam. That was K-State's Big 12 championship season, and they had much the better of Mizzou that night, but Smith played well with 11 points against the Cats.
Kind of got that Mizzou tie when you think about Mark Smith, and then Kim Anderson here is the head coach of Pitt State. Played at Missouri under Norm Stewart. And Norm Stewart really started that Coaches for Cancer. And boy, have they done a great job as a coaching association coming up with ways to create funds, and it's one of the things Bruce Weber is passionate about.
Smith and Eziagu, carbon copy of what we saw in the first half. The big fellas like those, and Smith has found him twice.
And the finish that you want. You watch these players work out in practice, and it's amazing how often when they're working out with no defense, they turn and dunk, and then in the game you go, well, why didn't you do turn and dunk? I wonder, and it's good to see him do it.
Good defense forces a tough shot for Hawkins.
And there's the kind of rebound position that I think K-State needs that we did not see a lot of in the first half on the defensive end.
Smith to Masood. Open three for Hufner. Break opportunity here for McGurl.
Good steal.
McGurl gets it back, and he's bumped and fouled.
Break for K-State. Magic Relaford from Parsons, Kansas almost had a steal. Ends up with a foul instead. You see the guys aren't used to game action. They got their hands on their hips, grabbing their shorts. They played less than 2 minutes in the second half. They're not used to, coaches talk about practice all the time. Practice, you got to be great in practice. Okay, I agree, but there's nothing like the game. You got to be great in games. You get a different level of energy. You get worn out at different times. And basketball is very fortunate to have the ability to play an exhibition game before K-State starts their season for real next Wednesday night, right here on ESPN+.
Florida A&M, the opponent for K-State. Birch out, Gibbons back in, who had 8 to lead Pitt State in the first half. Masood lost it going up for the reverse. Here comes Magic. Trying to create some magic in transition, but leaves it short.
Yeah, not a good shot there.
McGurl, what a veteran play there.
Things are a little out of system now for both teams, but K-State's athleticism allows them to light the scoreboard up and expand the lead.
8 for McGurl, and the lead grows to 17.
This is Coach Chris Kleiman with a message of hope for families battling drug addiction. No one takes drugs like meth, cocaine, and ecstasy expecting to become addicted. You should know that addiction can happen to anyone because it's a disease of the brain. But that also means recovery is possible. Addiction doesn't have to be permanent, and the state of Kansas is ready to assist you every step of the way.
Visit findtreatment.gov or call the Kansas Substance Abuse Referral Line at 866-645-8216.
McGurl for a third three. Good! 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 Oh! Sneaky good! Everybody standing at Graham.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's as good as we've seen.
Wow, crowd is revved up, and so is this Rebels Wildcats right now.
Who wrote the book of love?
This is the story of Mega Millions. Mega Millions is big and bold. It is sometimes confused with its cousin Powerball, but Mega Millions has the magical ability called Megaplier, which could help you win millions even without hitting the jackpot. This makes people mega happy. Mega Millions drawings are held every Tuesday and Friday at 10 p.m. Play starts at $2.
We wrote the book of love.
Hey, you gonna do this or what? You gotta do it. And keep doing it. Do it big. Hit it. Stepping up. Always take the risk. Don't just watch it. Put your phone down and do it. Drip splash like the ice on the wrist. That's a call I can't miss. Do what they say you can. Because there are those who don't and those who do. Let's do.
We want to see you stay safe and healthy.
We want you here cheering us on this fall.
So get vaccinated.
So get vaccinated.
So get vaccinated.
Follow health and safety guidelines and stay home if you're not feeling well.
Protect yourself. Protect your family and friends.
Protect all of us.
Protect all of us.
Protect all of us.
My message as a medical professional is simple. Please get vaccinated.
Get the shot.
Get the shot.
Protect us all, and let's get the shot.
There's Curtis Kelly, who starred on that 2010 Elite 8 team with Jacob Poland and Danny Clemente. He's back on the staff here working for Bruce Weber as a graduate student manager, his pro career finishing up last year. Great to see Curtis back, and let's check in courtside with Catherine.
With the K-State huddle, the focus is, they started off good, but they got to make sure they're getting back in transition, stop turning over the ball, and really focus on scoring. Stay focused on the minutes and stay focused on the mission.
Cats with the first 6 of the second half, and a bump and a foul as Antonio Givens hits the deck. But Curtis Kelly had a really good career here. Great big man in the middle around those guards who could really shoot it. It was just a fun time for K-State.
And seeing Curtis Kelly back here for the K-State fan, as you're seeing the hard work inside by Antonio Givens and finally getting a foul call, he's shown a lot of strength. But for K-State fans, it's easy to talk about the program, the tradition, and you remember back to Curtis Kelly playing the way he did with Jacob Poland and the guys. But the reality is, when coaches change, they come in, kind of build their own segment of the program. It's one of the little secrets of big-time athletics. Curtis Kelly did not play for Bruce Weber, but yet Bruce Weber does such a great job of honoring that tradition. He welcomes him right in as if he coached him every day of his career and said, you played for K-State, you're a part of our program. It's nice to mix and match as well. Bruce Weber has a lot of continuity. You look, and that's a good thing. Shane Southwell's back as a coach, as is Jermaine Henderson. Chris Lowry's been here all 10 years with Bruce Weber. A lot of continuity, but to see a guy like Curtis Kelly add to the mix, a different voice, what he's learned playing in the pros, will be real helpful to K-State, and it's nice to see him back.
Pitt staying in a zone. Smith to the left hand, can't get the roll.
Pitt State's not going to play a lot of zone this year, but they do have it in their repertoire.
And a 3 from Magic Relaford.
Had 10 points in the first exhibition against Avila, and there is good ball movement. A 1-3-1 zone here to see how K-State handles it.
Floater from Pack, left short. Rebounded by James.
K-State got the ball into the middle where they would want against the zone both times, but did not score. And there's one of the things that both teams are going to have to work on. They're going to sub a lot of guys, believe in a lot of players, but do you get on the same page? Do you have the continuity? And there's a fired pass with no one to receive it. Straight out of bounds it goes.
Pack left alone, turns down the 3. Ish Massoud from the wing. Smith there with the rebound. Pack inside to Landers. Might have got it blocked or hurried it.
That's good execution by the veterans. So you got a young guy not used to finishing down there, gets hurried. But getting the ball to the middle, like Mark Smith did, and then for Nigel Pack to cut that ball right into the layup situation, that was good offense.
Relaford looking for another one.
Is Mark Smith's role going to be to rebound? He has been a rebounding machine tonight.
Well, he's in double figures. 10 rebounds, 4 points, and 5 assists for Smith. K-State had the first 6 to begin the second half, but Pitt State's answered back with the last 5. 43-31. As we referenced the game by Mark Smith, and there's a look at his numbers. Good start to his super senior season here at K-State.
Strong guy, really had a focus on clearing the boards on defense, also has an offensive rebound.
Landers missed another one inside, but is fouled from behind.
Good pass by Selton Miguel. Logan Landers looks like a freshman catching the ball. Like, okay, this isn't hard. I've done it my whole life. And then all of a sudden you get in a hurry and somehow you miss it. And the official right there, the technique that they use is if he makes that basket, they say play on.
Yep.
And if he doesn't and there's a contact, they say there's a foul. So sometimes that really throws a curveball to the fans watching the game. Like, how is it possible that you're saving this guy? But they'd like to play on if you get to 2 points.
Well, I know that rule, but when I'm a fan watching the game, I have the same reaction.
Exactly. It's a foul, call it. Or if it's not a foul,
you just can't get used to it.
Why does that team get that foul?
And it's probably even harder for the player that got the foul called on it.
Yeah, you think you're done and ready to roll, and then the whistle blows.
Noel lets it fly. No. Kept alive by Miguel.
The Gorillas have gone back to man-to-man. K-State had some good offense, but didn't end up finishing when they played zone against the Wildcats.
Noel gets downhill into the left hand.
And you can tell that up and under move is something he's learned his whole life. It's funny when people say, well, what do you think about being 5'8" and playing basketball? I was like, well, I've been short my whole life, and I've been effective. And you can see how he gets it done.
He is hard to stay in front of. Landers rips a three.
And there he looks like a veteran. How about the freshman knocking it down, saying, I'm not a guy who can't shoot from outside. You want to talk about Ish Masood burying deep balls?
It's like he's said enough with these easy layups. Let's step out and hit the three.
Yeah.
Biggest lead of the night for the Cats at 19.
Quick release. And a three-point shot.
And answering at the other end with his own left-handed finish is Tyler Hawkins. His first 2 of the night, and he led Pitt State with 17 on Friday against Avalon. Open look for Selton. Yes, Selton Miguel, just a 22% three-point shooter a year ago, but that one looked fluid.
Well, that's something you can work on in the offseason. There's no doubt you can become a better three-point shooter. Can you take it to the court with what you practice with? But Bruce Weber said we're a better shooting team, and you can look at players who have been added who can shoot the three ball, but some of the guys who weren't high percentage last year can up their percentage. There's plenty of room for K-State's guys to shoot 5 to 10 percentage points better than he did last year.
Selton with 10 in the ball game, and Selton Miguel came in last year at 6'4", strong player. I mean, he was Big 12. His body was Big 12 ready last year, and he looks even in better shape this year.
But he took on the mantra of saying, why can't I be the next Barry Brown and play great K-State defense? And he did that. You see the Wildcats' upcoming schedule.
Jeff Mitty and the Wildcats women's team will be in action hosting this same university tomorrow, Pitt State, here at 6:30.
And you've got football going on. There's a lot of football left to be played.
Sunflower Showdown, Stan, on Saturday. You'll have the call on radio. Give us a quick preview of that one.
Well, K-State played a very well-rounded ball game against TCU, and against an explosive offense. The defense was strong all day. They gave up only one 61-yard run. And that really was close to being 6 straight quarters of no touchdowns. Texas Tech second half, and TCU basically scored against the backup. So in the last seconds of the game, K-State's defense is better. Skylar Thompson's made K-State's passing game good, and now you got balance in the offense, good defense. But if the KU Jayhawks play like they did against Oklahoma, had a 10-0 lead at halftime, and play to that level at home, it could be competitive. Obviously, K-State is the favorite, but you cannot take anything for granted, because if the Jayhawks play to their highest level, they've shown that Lance Leipold has got some good things going on.
Magic Relaford.
Was that a magic shot?
Yes, it was, and a chance for a 3-point play.
It's almost like a trick shot. He got hit hard enough that he really was pushed on the baseline. How he got the ball to go past the edge of the backboard and in is amazing.
Smith gets another rebound.
That's where you'd like him to catch and just hit that elbow shot. He was open.
Smith showing a little old school game there.
It's like it's a trick shot contest here. Magic first. And why would he take the easy shot that I said he had when he could take that shot? What was that, a 45-degree angle leg kick, and he hardly jumped.
Yeah.
It was like a set shot leaning 1-footer. Then I'm going to close my eyes and shoot it over my head off the backboard.
That's one of those, your opponent shows you that in a horse game, and you're like, what?
The MIAA maybe asking about Antonio Gibbons and saying, what with this big guy? Good tap away, no foul, but picking up the loose ball, Antonio Gibbons. Been strong tonight.
12 points, 4 boards for Gibbons.
Well, one of the things we've had after the COVID year last year was so disjointed in every way. These teams did spend some time together and made the best of it, but this year, with some of the restrictions off and more normal times for these athletes, there's been a lot of team bonding. Both these teams have really been aggressive in getting their teams into those situations, and the Gorillas actually took these young men out to the Lake of the Ozarks and did some fishing. Now, they weren't very good at fishing, but it was a good team building exercise for the Gorillas. And then they also said, let's go bowling. Now, they were a little better at bowling. Some of the guys are kind of naturals, not pros or anything, but some decent bowling, better than the fishing. But just team building, back to normalcy. And K-State did some of the same things as well this year. Not a trip to the Lake of the Ozarks, nothing like that. But they had some Marines come in and take them through some really tough times in pool and other situations to test the team unity.
Timeout on the floor, 55-38 Wildcats. 11:55 to go in this exhibition matchup tonight. K-State 55, Pitt State 38. The Wildcats shooting right at 52.4% and 6 of 14 from 3. For the Gorillas, 35% overall. Just 1 of 8 from downtown. They had 9 threes Friday in their win over Avila in their first exhibition game.
And there's some hope from the coaching staff, led by Kim Anderson, that they will be able to make some 3 balls. It's a little bit harder when teams are long and close out faster like K-State to shoot your normal percentage. But we've seen the strength on the inside work against K-State some, and that's a real good sign for Pitt State.
There's Waters isolated on Smith. Smith with the block.
Filling up the stat sheet.
Smith with the loose ball. 3-on-2 break for the Cats. And Selton will turn down the 3. Now dumped inside to Eziagu. Left-handed hook from Eziagu.
He has some moves on the inside, but
Eziagu with the block. Miguel in transition is fouled.
a lot of bodies bouncing around on both ends of the court. Already falling to the ground, did not get the ball up quick enough. Dijon Waters, and slapped away by the Wildcats big guy Casey Eziagu, and then to the other end the Wildcats go.
K-State with back-to-back blocks, one from Smith, one from Eziagu. Not a great night from the free throw line for K-State, 5 of 11.
And it does not matter too much tonight because the score is 55-38. But last year, when you look at the record the Wildcats had and the disappointing season, it seemed that when they had those cold free throw nights were the nights where it really did matter. And you lose by 5, where if you would have made your normal free throws, you'd be sitting with a 1-point lead or a heck of a fight at the end of the game.
Just 66% last year. I'll make a prediction, even though K-State's 5 of 12 in this exhibition game, that they will shoot 70% as a team from the free throw line.
Just better offensive players.
Yeah.
And you got to go back 3 seasons, Ben, to be able to see a Wildcat team hit 70% or better. So that's not a mild prediction right there. That's stepping out there.
Hardrick sticks a 3, just the second of the night for Pitt State, and Kim Anderson's got him back in the zone. Well, they had some great passes, but nobody wanted to shoot the 3, and then Smith turns it over. That's got to be a charge, and it is. Mark Smith doing it all tonight for K-State. Scoring, rebounding, blocking shots, drawing charges. You got to like that for a guy who transfers in, just stepping up and say, hey, I'll do the dirty work.
Exactly. And tonight we talked about Bruce Weber wanting to find out who can play what roles. And he's shown that he can play a lot of roles. Like you said, doing any dirty work that's needed. Maybe not the best scorer, but filling up the stat sheet. And Bruce Weber has a famous play hard chart.
I was just going to say that. I bet he wins it.
We don't know exactly every bit of the formula, but if he isn't, then we're really mixed up.
Selton Miguel rings the bell. Second triple of the second half for Selton.
Boy, if that could be a trend, that would really help K-State, because his ability to burst and drive has everyone in the league's attention. And they would step back and dare him to shoot 3-pointers last year.
Well, really, last year he was one of the few Wildcats who could put it on the floor and get to the rim to create something offensively. And you're right, if he can add that to his game.
And if you didn't hear me talk about it at the beginning of the ball game, there's a new interpretation that allows a whole extra step by people driving to the basket. It is now more valuable than ever. They basically are letting you travel by the rules, if you just read through the rule book, it would be a travel, but the interpretation the officials are supposed to take this year allows that extra step. So being able to drive the ball to the basket is more valuable this year.
Speaking of driving it to the basket, Selton Miguel with an athletic finish.
Hanging in the air, takes the contact, and somehow gets the ball to go while falling on his right arm.
He's got 15, 6 of 8 from the floor, and headed to the free throw line. A chance to finish off this three-point play.
Last year, his season high was 17 points. He had that in a couple of games, once in conference against Texas Tech.
Ryan Pippin's in, number 22 for Pitt State. Played just a few minutes in the first half. Cats by 20 with 9 minutes to go. Skipped into the corner for a pack three.
Good pass. College basketball, you go from one baseline, shoot it over to the other corner. There's almost no way the defense could rotate in time to stop a three-point opportunity.
Pack just 1 of 5 from the floor tonight. But these numbers won't count. Waters rattles out a 3 and a rebound to Selton Miguel.
One thing you've seen tonight with the Wildcats, Eziagu gets the ball inside, is they haven't just passed the ball to the point guard to take it up the court. Once they gain possession, you'll see Nigel Pack, or if it's Marquise Noel, oftentimes they'll head down the court and trust that the other guys can bring the ball up safely and with pace. A lot of adaptability, different skill sets for just your thought about the offensive guys. The play of these players being better on offense, there's just a good example. But they feel comfortable with the ball in their hand in open court.
Free throw drops for Eziagu. Luke Kasupke in for Selton Miguel. That'll help the free throw numbers.
Heading
63-41.
Heading toward Ben's prediction of 70% for the year. Tonight's free throw shooting will not count. Next time you join us, next Wednesday, they will count. We should have a little scroll. You know, a lot of times you have that on ESPN. We're on ESPN Plus. A little scroll. Ben Boyle predicts 70%, and the year-to-date is?
Yeah, check back with me in March.
Okay. This kind of stuff I remember, so I
know you will. Fourth foul on Eziagu. Logan Landers will check in for him.
Good work inside there by Ryan Pippin to fight the taller players and get the rebound. But again, it's something that K-State needs to work on, in my opinion. They have not had great rebounding position to clear the board no matter where the ball goes tonight. They've allowed some opportunities for offensive rebounds.
Pippin started quite a few games last year.
He's a great free throw shooter.
Yeah, 88% last year. Has seen limited action here tonight.
Not only did he play for Arkansas Little Rock, he actually grew up in Little Rock.
Three-pointer for Nigel Pack, his first of the game.
I remember that.
Yeah, that looks familiar.
It is basketball season again. It reminds me when you see that beautiful shot from Nigel from behind the arc.
6 different Wildcats with a 3 in this one, and answering is R.J. Forney. 3 from the corner.
You know, R.J. Forney, he likes shooting those 3 balls. He plays on the outside so much, Ben, that he only shot 2 free throws all last season.
Stat of the night from Stan Weber as the teams trade 3-pointers. Cats up by 20. Back to Bramlage. K-State up comfortably by 20 with 7:25 to go. And once again, let's check in with Catherine Benhart.
A storyline tonight has been K-State and their chemistry as a team. I talked with K-State's Casey Ziagu earlier today at their shoot-around, and he said, last season during the summer, it was harder for them to bond because of COVID. But he said this summer and this season is different. He says that they have had the opportunity to really connect on a different level, so they feel like they've known each other for years at this point. He says he feels like they mesh well together and that they can bring something really special to the table tonight.
Yeah, Bruce Weber has talked about that a little bit as well, especially the newcomers coming in here. And meshed with the guys coming back as Kasupke misses from the corner, but tracked down by Logan Landers.
Landers looking a little more comfortable out there since he made that three-pointer.
Pack splits the seam, but has it blocked inside by Zach Birch.
Good job using the left hand to block the shot. Here it is, going straight up vertical, no foul.
10 on the shot clock. Pack into McGurl. McGurl lets it fly from deep. Ish Massoud has it knocked out of his hands and off his foot.
Ish Massoud. His mom, Alicia, was a big-time basketball player at the University of Houston. And his brother, right now, is a quarterback on the Houston football team, which is playing high-level football. Not a starter, but he is on the team, and they're on their way to the Big 12.
Yeah.
Some big announcements. Cincinnati, Houston, UCF, and BYU. Those teams are, other than UCF, though, the other three are playing high-level football this year. Two of them ranked in the top 15 in the first poll that came out for the college football playoff.
Cincinnati a little low, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was a shock to the system that Cincinnati went on the road and beat Notre Dame and has won all their games and still not in the top 4 in the first poll, and made some people ask again, is there any chance, if you're not from the Power 5, that you can get into the 4-team college football playoff? But those polls now don't matter at all. All that matters is the last one.
Pack alone for 3, front rims it. Tipped out to Kasupke. Kasupke to Pack. He's kind of having one of those nights.
Both players a little off there because Kasupke's pass was too low.
Pippen with the spin move and the bank. Ish Massoud lines it up, and he's fouled. 3 shots coming for Ish Massoud.
Looks like Hardrick got there a little late. Maybe was there when he came down. Very dangerous when you come into someone after they've already jumped in the air to shoot the shot. They're going to protect the shooter.
A 74% free throw shooter a year ago at Wake Forest.
Pretty consistent both years. In his last 2, he shot about the same percentage.
Bruce Weber says he's constantly in the gym, getting shots up, works at his game, watches film. Just a sophomore.
You talk about the integration of guys like this, and when you have that kind of attitude, it's easier for everyone to accept you because they know you're serious about your craft. At the end of the day, these guys like all different things, and the greatest melting pot there is big-time athletics locker rooms. People don't care where you're from or what you like to do.
Yeah.
You want to be a team, but it still comes back to one common denominator. Do you care about the purpose that you have as a team? And when someone does, it makes it a lot easier to say, come on, let's join up as friends as well.
Kasupke, nice feed into Landers, and he's fouled going up from behind by Waters.
See a low line drive pass. Really, on that pass, Luke Kasupke was a little too far up the court to make that pass. Very fortunate to get it through. Not a high percentage one, but was able to get it down there. And if you can get that pass down to the big guy, it's a great chance to score because he's got such an angle to turn to the basket with the defender on his hip.
Landers, again, one of the top players out of the state of Wisconsin. A nice get for Bruce Weber and staff, because we've seen firsthand those big power forwards that have played for the Wisconsin Badgers over the years that can shoot the basketball. And Landers potentially in that mode, but
we've seen one from K-State recently play well. It might be a model to dream about.
Landers with the rejection.
Anytime you can think about Dean Wade, you think,
and the slam at the other end.
hey, this crowd's not COVID related. There's the noise we've been missing for over a year.
Here it is, the block and the slam from Logan Landers.
Good one-on-one defense, no help. Not only blocks it, but corrals it. Gets it to Ish. We talked about anybody can bring it up, and there it is, an opening to slam it home. Good pass by Masood to the big guy. Way to run the court. We even start thinking about Dean Wade and mention his name, and look what happens.
And quietly, Landers now in double figures with 11. Including a perfect 4 of 4 from the free throw line. He's got 6 boards as well, and you just saw the block.
And it's good to see him slam the ball home, because a lot of his shots tonight have been just at the rim and using 2 hands sometimes and going up softly. That's what you need, is to gain some strength. And he has a good shooting touch. You can see when he shot that three-pointer, his free throw shooting as well.
Nice turnaround. K-State's other freshman, Maximus Edwards, a 6'5" freshman out of Connecticut. It's going to be out for some time with an injury and could potentially redshirt this year. Noel rattles out a 3.
And someone else you thought would be a big part of K-State basketball this year is 7-footer Carlton Lingard. He also has come up with an injury and will not be back for a while, so we'll see how that goes. But that definitely changed some of the rotations that you might have thought for the Wildcats. The biggest one right now is obviously Davian Bradford is not playing tonight. Not feeling well, ill.
Hawkins buries a 3.
Well, this is one of the keys when I started the game for Pitt State, is perform on the road. And the crowd's kind of gotten into the game the last 4 or 5 minutes. And guess what? The Gorillas have responded well. You got people yelling air ball at you, get in your head. Instead, able to make some shots to respond to that for Pitt State.
We'll step aside with 3:57 to go, and the Cats and Masood leading by 19. 73-54, inside 4 minutes to go in this exhibition game tonight. And Stan, good play from all the transfers, and also Logan Landers, a freshman for K-State.
Yeah, a part of the K-State basketball team. You're seeing some good things. Really solid play all around by Mark Smith with double-digit rebounds. Marquise Noel with some exciting plays, deep three-point shooter, and some drives to the basket. Smith scoring some, but doing all the other things. Block shots, and then after a slow start, Logan Landers lit it up from this point forward. Knocks down a three-pointer. After a block, gets down court for a dunk, and his energy level has picked up tremendously. Welcome to college basketball. He may have got as much out of this game as any K-State player. The difference from what I saw early in his minutes and what we see now is completely different.
Yeah, and he's had to play a bunch tonight with no Davion Bradford, and Eziego picking up some foul trouble. K-State limited at the 5 spot tonight.
Miguel, looks like he got a lot of basketball on this one.
I think that's all he got was basketball. Tyler Hawkins at the free throw line.
How will Pitt State do this year? Well, Ken Anderson has a lot of experience. He had those 3 years where he coached at Mizzou recently before coming here to Pitt State, but overall he's had 20 years of head coaching experience and won 357 games. So they're excited about some opportunities to be better at Pitt State than they've been the last couple seasons. He had winning seasons his first 2 and losing records the last 2.
Yeah, both coaches feeling like they're better than the preseason poll. Tough luck there for Noel.
Pitt State picked 8th in a big numbered team conference. NCAA has a lot of schools, so 8th is kind of lower middle.
K-State will do it for real starting next week. Florida A&M, the opener next Wednesday. That'll be here on ESPN+. Then Omaha, and then the tournament Hall of Fame Classic in Kansas City. K-State will open against number 16 Arkansas, a team that went to the Elite 8.
So they play on Wednesday, and then the next Wednesday, then Thanksgiving week, they'll play Monday and Tuesday in a T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. CBE Classic tournament there. Both games will be great matchups. Brad Underwood's the head coach at Illinois. He'll have his team there. One of the top teams of last season. Some returning starters coming back. Get in some Sunday games. K-State has 4 Sunday games during the non-con.
Hawkins able to finish.
He's been able to show some flair tonight. You mentioned he led the team in scoring against Avila. He has some capabilities of shooting outside. Also comfortable driving to the basket. Good body control.
All 10 of his points coming in the second half.
Junior from New Jersey. He's picked up the pace to lead this basketball team, but really they cannot wait for Bobby Arthur Williams to get back. A senior who's 13 all NCAA last year, unavailable tonight. I think the crowd's getting into gear. I think they learned how to cheer again and get back at a K-State basketball game. They're much louder in the second half.
Alley-oop off target.
With an exhibition game, this is where the students might say, hey, it's a weeknight, I'm going to head back, do a little studying, have a little fun. They're getting more and more into the game as it goes on.
Yeah, they missed it last year. But good showing tonight from the student crowd, and they pretty much all stayed around.
Yeah, it's good to be back, Ben, doing some basketball. No one cares where we sit. We can be in a helicopter as long as the video looks great and they can hear our voice okay.
But it is nice to be back.
But we actually are close to the court, so not that anyone cares, but it's a fact. It's been fun. Didn't expect, though, the coach to be near me and falling back and almost tumbling over the whole.
Yeah, well, welcome back to the courtside
yes.
seats. You were in the action early.
Right. You weren't with us. He got ran into by a player and like a bowling pin was falling over and was going to fall completely over the media table, probably hit his head. Put my hand on his back and held him up. What's amazing is game action didn't stop.
Yeah,
he looked at me and kind of said thanks, and then he went back to coaching.
Yeah.
And I was busy, and I go, oh, the ball's still dribbling. Okay. We've been lucky enough to know Kim Anderson for a long, long time. How about Bruce Weber in his 10th year already at K-State?
Averaging 20 wins this season in his career as a head coach, 24th year overall as a head coach. 2 veteran guys and 2 great guys on the benches here tonight. Miguel, a little ill-advised 3 there after making his first 2. But hey, when you've got 16 on the night,
and your
game
career
in control, why not?
And your career high 17.
Yeah.
A little sloppy right now.
And a foul at midcourt as Miguel goes down hard. And both coaches going to empty the benches now. Drew Honus, Trey Harris, Jordan Brooks set to check in. The 3 walk-ons for K-State.
2 of them are new, Trey Harris, Jordan Brooks. You'll see Jordan Brooks in a second. This young man from Kentucky walked on, played for Iona under Coach Rick Pitino. Only played in a couple of games, but his dad, big-time basketball player, Mr. Indiana in high school, went on to play at Indiana for Bob Knight. And that wasn't the top of his performance. He actually transferred to Providence and played in the 1987 Final Four at Providence. And you think about how all the small world ties, how many times Bruce Weber sat on the sideline with Gene Cady, a K-Stater, at Purdue when they battled Indiana. Probably remembers his dad well.
Harris waiting to check in if Miguel can complete this second free throw. Student section always loves it when the walk-ons get in and get some playing time, so they're fired up and ready to go here. And that'll finish the night for Selton Miguel, a game-high 18 points.
It won't count on the official.
Won't count, but hopefully bodes well for the start of the season. The sophomore, nice step back for Xavier Sykes, a freshman out of Columbia, Missouri.
That's like a knuckleball, just a very slow turning basketball right to the bottom of the net.
Brooks from deep. Drew Honus lost it going up.
Good pass by Luke Kasuki.
Turnaround won't drop for Jason Jones. Kasubki off the dribble. 4 in the game for Luke. Had a couple of free throws earlier. 78-59 your final score. K-State wins the exhibition, and we'll do it for real next Wednesday when Florida A&M comes to town. Selton McGill leads K-State with 18 as the Wildcats finish shooting at 46% and 8 of 24 from three-point range. Really good balance, though, across the board for Kansas State in this one. Landers had 11, Masood had 10, and a bunch of guys in high single digits. And we'll send it courtside here with Catherine Benhart.
Coach, in the huddle, you talked about staying focused on the minute and the moment. What does that mean to you, and do you think the team did that tonight?
Well, I just thought at the end of the game, you get it up to 26 or whatever. Now you got to stay focused and learn to put a team away and not go to try to play on your own. We talked about staying mission focused. Worry about the things you control. Play well, good, play hard, play together. And not about me. It's got to be about us. If we worry about us, we'll be a good team.
And how does it feel to be back in Bramlage playing in front of these K-State fans?
Well, it's always good. There's no doubt. They have energy. The guys love it. We got 2 Wednesdays in a row. We got to have some people here. We got to have students. It helps our guys. I think we have a good group. I think we're gonna be excited.
Thanks, Coach.
And a look at our final numbers as K-State wins it 78-59. At one point, really for most of the game, K-State, Stan, was shooting over 50%, but that kind of fell off there in the last 4 minutes as the game got a little wild there to finish, and both coaches clearing the bench. But your overall thoughts as we look at the numbers here on K-State's performance tonight?
Well, they integrated a lot of different players. You can see the new players with guys like Mike McGurl who have been here a long time, and you can see that they have capabilities, but they just need to come together with more glue, be on the same page on the offensive end, because you just can't have 18 turnovers, and they had 12 at the half. K-State shooting the ball better. When you talk about that 50% mark, you say, well, okay, it's an exhibition, you shoot 50%, but you go back to last season, K-State's struggle on offense is one of the keys I talked about. They only shot 50% or better in a game 2 times. So shooting the ball better is a big part of it. I thought Mark Smith really showed a lot of strength, integrated himself in, and just filled up the stat sheet and set the tone for K-State. Obviously, you can't wait to get the rest of the guys back. Davian Bradford can make a big difference on the inside for K-State, but they did what they needed to. This game wasn't close. K-State won the ball game like they should in an exhibition against an MIAA team.
Yeah, Bruce Weber hopefully gets Davion Bradford back next Wednesday when K-State plays host to Florida A&M. So the Cats win it here 78-59. Hope you enjoyed it. For Stan Weber, I'm Ben Boyle. So long, everybody. All games airing on the ESPN Network or streaming live and archived on the ESPN app.